Sasha!
Hey, Jeffrey.
Good to see you
Good
again.
to see you, Saturday.
I'm moving into this place.
Thank you, but no, thank you. All right, today is a special day. I mean, the time has come to start the impeachment process. We need to get Trump out of the office. This is crazy what is going on. What do you say, Jeffrey?
Well, luckily I followed your example, and I brought my last will and testament. So
Does it say impeachment somewhere there?
everywhere.
Everywhere. So I think it's time, like what happens, like Trump is destroying our country every day, and there is no plan, there is no idea what is going on, and he brings some crazy stuff that we have to deal and discuss. Every time we just discussing tariffs or something else, which is like buying or taking like Greenland, or stuff that has nothing to do with the value of our lives.
The problem is there's so much insanity each day. It's absolutely a challenge to keep up.
Right, that's how he does. He makes like chaos, and he rules through the chaos. But like people, like my clients, my friends, we cannot, like people in United States, we cannot live like this. There's no people who chose Trump. They thought he is gonna bring the law in order. There's nothing but disorder and lawlessness.
The only thing that's completely clear is all of the nonsense that he promised to get himself elected, and basically Trump will say anything to get himself into the behind the desk there. It's all nonsense. It's just to get himself elected. Once in position, he doesn't care about anything that he said before. And we're learning this. And now it's the opinion of both of us that the first step is we need to edit the Congress, and we need to edit the Senate, and we need to get rid of all these MAGA morons that are in both houses, and they have to be gone. Because nothing can happen before.
Yeah, but to do it, we need to educate people. And let me just introduce one more time, like, because you hear so much information, so many opinions and ideas from influencers, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, people who are sitting behind the desk and pushing like some kind of like, I don't know what they're pushing. They want to get money, likes and stuff, and instead of just educate you to make a right choice. So let me introduce you one more time, Jeffrey. Jeffrey Maingard, he's a business entrepreneur. He's, let me just he builds, like he creates the violins, like look at this instrument. It's the sound is somewhere between Rogeri and Stradivari. More, I think closely to Rogeri. The guy does bows. The guy Jeffrey does he's scuba diving around the world. He lived in Belgium how many? 20 years? 15 years?
37 years.
37. How old are you? Don't tell. So he's so different worlds. He's got so much experience and understanding. He's entrepreneur. He's scuba diving like around the world. He's participating in regatas like.
And I spent my time of the Vietnam War as a musician in the White House for the other crazy president that we had, Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford, and a year and a half of Watergate.
And you actually talked to Kissinger.
Yeah, I played for Brezhnev, I played for Indira Gandhi,
Okay, got it. So let's listen, guys. This is like, I have experience, I have a bachelor degree in physics. I'm 29 years experience in taxation, business management, accounting. The point is this, we are not trying to like do something like monetize our broadcasts. We need like you to live better, so we also will be living better. But nothing like right is going on in this country right now around the world, because you and we chose Trump as a president thinking he's doing or he's gonna do right things?
I think one thing that should be mentioned, how did somebody like Trump get anywhere near the White House, let alone in the White House? I don't know if any of you have been watching this special series on HBO, but I watched it this week and I was shocked. It's called The Dark Money Game. And this was all about how they created the Federalist Society, which is basically taking over the country. And the whole purpose of the Federalist Society was to change the Supreme Court. And they had this crazy guy, his name was Leonard Leo, who was basically a religious right white supremacist. And the goals of this were to put the most conservative Supreme Court, because they knew that this was a long-term prospect, and over 20 or 30 years they would eventually be able to change the United States.
Let me just tell you something else. In my book, which has nothing to do with this series, again, it's The Purple Vision by Sasha Geoff. The point I'm making in one of the millions of points, points like in...
He moves it too fast. There you go.
Okay, the point I'm making in this book, that if you choose the Supreme Court to be Republican or Democrat, the president will be the same party, and the Congress will be the same party. It won't be United States of America. It won't be a democratic country. So we need the balance of power. We need Democrats and we need Republicans. So I want to just move by the scenario, like the idea of outline of this video. I just want to talk to people who chose Trump thinking that he's going to do something special for us. And what is going on right now, you thinking it's a part of some kind of a plan. Nothing but plan. This is totally chaos, and we're sinking. Our country is going down, and it's we need extremely soon, not just if we cannot impeach, we need to turn the Republican Congress people against MAGA Republicans' ideas. So let me just talk about...
Let me make one point though. The problem is that Trump and all these people, especially on the court, were put there by this group, the Federalist Society, and they passed a law. The Supreme Court, as a result, passed a law which has destroyed the United States and destroyed free elections and fair elections. And that was the ruling called Citizens United, which means that before, people were allowed to donate, I think, $5,000, maybe $10,000 to an election. Now it's still the same, private people, but now they can have these power packs and things like that, unlimited money, which means people like Musk and people like big businesses and things like that can buy the elections. And they can provide all the negative and phony advertising to make sure that people that are less educated are going to vote for the people that they tell you to vote for.
Let me push back on this. And this is idea of Democrats. But don't you consider this? If the Democrat, social Democrat, they offer bunch of people, they say don't do anything, we will give you free education. Isn't it the same as a billionaire will put money to influence other people to do something else? Do you see that?
Yeah, but what you're describing are the billionaires on both sides.
It's not just, it's the idea on both sides. So it's dangerous on both sides. Let's talk about Trump, how he's dangerous and he's not addressing any problem of our time. First, did you, like you said, do you live better now as before?
It's hard to say, because it's hard to say in the sense that, we all thought toward the end of the Biden administration, things were getting much better. We could, the inflation was under control, unemployment was under control. You could complain about one thing or another thing, but then Trump came in with
started.
all these promises that eggs are going to be, 2 cents a dozen and things like that. Instead, they're as high as $12 a dozen.
Yeah, but eggs, it's like minor problem.
But not for the average American. That's what they look at. He basically came into this thing with the idea that he's going to lower inflation, lower the cost of food, lower the cost of education.
Jeffrey, but when you start talking about eggs, that they will be like we are reducing ourselves to chaos, like Trump's like he takes you like out and we start talking about eggs. How about talking like did we start living better? Like do we have a plan on starting living better? Forget about eggs. Like what is the plan for you and me to feel good about like working maybe normal hours, getting value for our salaries? And so let me go because I want to talk to people about drill, baby, drill. Because my clients and friends, they talk about like, oh, you don't understand. Trump wants like to increase the production of oil. So in a previous our conversation, I was lazy to pull out the numbers. So I want to share with you how stupid, how uneducated the drill, baby, drill. And let me just so. The cost of extraction in United States, shale extraction, is $45-65 per barrel. So that's a cost. The conventional extraction of oil is between $20 and $40 per barrel. In the same time, in the Middle East, the cost of extraction between $10 and $20. In Russia, it's $20 and $40. The point is this: when he reduces the oil price and he thinks to $20 per barrel, we will not make any money because most of the production of ours is shale extraction. And it's $45 to $65 per barrel. We will be subsidizing that production of oil, and there will be no point of extraction of oil where we can buy the Middle Eastern oil for if cost of their production $10 to $20, we can buy for $30 their production, not wasting $20, which is minimum of cost on our production. So this is nonsense. This is crazy nonsense. Say something.
Okay, well, we went through this last week also. But I think that oil is not going to save this country. I said right now, the big talk everywhere is about minerals and rare earth and things like that. That's going to change the world because we need these rare earth minerals to create basically life of the future, which means computers, chips, everything that we know, every electronic device, everything that's manufactured, mostly in China, depends on these rare earth minerals. Now, I've been getting all these emails from various organizations talking about that supposedly in the back of Trump's mind, he's going to deregulate the entire United States because the United States apparently has most of the necessary rare earth minerals. And if he just one second, and if he gets rid of all the regulations, then we can mine these things, just like you said with oil, at a fair rate, because we can't compete with China. Somebody mentioned that it takes 29 years to mine these minerals in the United States because of regulations, and in China it takes 90 days. We can't compete with that.
So in other words, you get another carrot, you chasing carrots constantly with Trump. You chasing Doge, they're gonna give you $5,000. Doge will save the country like from, they will find like 1 trillion. It started with 2 trillion a years, then it's 1 trillion. Now they 100 some billion dollars from.
Now they're actually saying that if we get all these rare earth minerals in the United States, that will eliminate our deficit, eliminate all.
Please.
This is what they're saying.
Yeah, but
and
it's nonsense.
We're supposedly worth $151 trillion.
Okay, first you have to
Nonsense.
build. Yeah, it's nonsense because not because it's nonsense in a like in the whole idea. You have to start the extraction. You have to. It's a cost. It's like you have to do something with them. You have to create production. Then you have to build the factory to do something with that. And where's those factory? We don't have factory. We don't have manufacturing. We are not ready for this. And they talking about going to Mars now, like this minerals. Insanity. So let me talk about drill baby drill is insanity. Then you have these tariffs. Jeffrey, if I can take some time,
Good
because
luck.
the point of tariffs, like nobody on any network, not any media, nobody tell you or told you why this is idiotic stuff. Our economy is driven by spending. It's a consumer-driven economy. So if we stop spending, we are crushing as economy going to recession, depression, and the collapsing. So what happens? Like if you remember, like we had a recession with Bush. And we got like stimulus paychecks, then we got with Obama, Biden, Trump. Those stimulus checks, they're not high. They were like $500, $700, $1,400. But what they intended to do, that you would start spending. So with tariffs, you increase the cost of the products. Sometimes 20%, sometimes 100%. What it will do, you will stop spending as much as needed, and some of the factories, stores, they will stop doing as much production or gross sales as they needed to keep employees. If they fire a bunch of employees, they will not be able to pay rent. If they will not be able to pay rent or mortgages,
these are recipes for bankruptcy.
So he's destroying our country. He's destroying with tariffs our ties with the rest of the world. Deporting illegal, Jeffrey. This is chaos number another 105. Talk about deporting. This is your favorite.
Well, my feeling is, I know this sounds terrible, but the MAGA Republicans, we're talking about the lower 30% of the United States. I call them MAGA morons.
You shouldn't.
Yeah, this is my idea.
Okay, but you shouldn't.
No,
they're confused. They don't know.
No, but the reason is because these are mostly people without college education who basically, have normal everyday jobs, and they have to depend.
So they're not more than uneducated.
They're uneducated. So.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll agree with that.
Okay.
I'll agree with that. The problem is that for all the people that don't want to work, once you deport all the people that we desperately need to farm, to work in to work in food processing plants, to work in the factories that we still have. Without these people, we don't have the economy that's necessary for the United States will die.
Exactly. So it's another destruction of our country. But I actually, in the book, it's 2018, I never advertised the book, but I am resolving illegal immigration. It's must be concurrently done with healthcare reform and other things to be done with taxation. But the point is this: I agree with deporting illegal immigrants. They shouldn't be here. And also, when we talk about when, due process, so I think, like for example, and I want to hear your opinion about this. You come like as a ISIS or something, like the soldiers like or whoever like will deport the illegal immigrants. They come to a person, say like, "Where's your paperwork?" And the person says, "I don't have a paperwork." They should be able to deport this person without due process. If a
I
person,
don't agree. I don't agree
Tell
because
me.
because then what happens is that you turn the United States into a fascist Nazi Germany.
Hold on.
And-
But go ahead.
Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Because for years and years and years, we've always had immigrants that worked in the fields and things like that, whether they're coming from Mexico or South America or China.
Legal
and
or
other-
illegal?
Huh?
Because
No, they were illegal, but they still built the railroads. They picked our crops. They worked in the factories. They worked in the food processing plants. You have this idiot governor of one of the states who's now wants to have 50-year-olds working in dangerous factories cutting meat. That's insanity. The point is that there are easy ways to give immigrants a special type of identity or identity card in which they can work, they can pay their taxes, and they can do this work that no American wants to do. I mean, how many people they keep saying we're going to build the factories? Who's going to work in these factories? Name one
I
person
agree.
who's going to quit their job at McDonald's to work at a factory next to 20 other people.
apologize. Are they like white Americans
It
working
doesn't
at the
matter.
McDonald's?
I mean, when you look at like Bill Maher said, when you look at the factories from 40 years ago, you see these guys that are built like Schwarzenegger and things like that, and they're sitting
Okay,
on scaffolding and
Jeffrey,
things like
let's-
that. These are people from 40 years ago. They don't exist anymore.
Yeah. So basically, there are not many people who will be working in this mythical factories. So it's crazy stuff. But I think the truth is in between. If you came illegally here, like you should be like, why we should like give you any right? And again, I like, if you were accepted by the judge, like given some appointment at court, immigration court, I understand you have some paperwork that you are due for due process. But if you hold on, let
Okay,
me
go.
finish. But if you illegally cross the border, you illegal here. You have no paper. Why can't authority just tell you, hey, do you have anything? No, let us put you on a bus and move you out.
No, they shouldn't put them on the bus. They should immediately get them in front of a judge or in front of a court or in front of an administrative bureau that can fix this. But you don't deport them. If you deport people the way they're doing it now, it's illegal. You cannot do it because once you're in this country, once you're standing on the soil of the United States, you have the right to due process. You cannot pick people off the street and send them out.
Okay, so-
and also, we do not, this is the United States. We don't carry identification.
Yeah, but it's not about carrying the.
It is now because once you start saying you have to have identification, what
Yeah.
happens to American citizens?
Yeah, because American citizen can tell you like his cell phone, he or she drive the driver license.
Some, not all.
Yeah, please. It's the point is this. So like what you're saying, I have to just cross that wall and or like land on the airplane as a tourist and just like and I have rights as a citizen.
For me, if you're going to stop people, you don't put them in jail. You stop the people and you take them immediately to a legal, the legal representative or the legal place where they can state their case. They're either allowed to be here, they're not allowed to be here, and where they can do the due process. Should only take a day, maybe a day and a half or two.
So there should be a process that doesn't have to be insanity. So Trump again creates the insanity. then Supreme Court has to 2 days ago just insert their like ruling that you cannot do that, like supporting Jeffrey's thesis. I think like
It's not a thesis, it's the law.
okay, apologize, law, but my point is, if Trump and his administration would say like, listen, this is the rules, we will be doing that, consulting legally and doing something legally, so it doesn't have to come to the Supreme Court. So let's move on. Like
Okay, I think that the next thing you should get to are the morons that he put in the cabinet.
I mean, this is
very
without
important.
we talked about that
No,
Peter
but now,
principle.
but a lot of things have happened this week that make it serious. Because, for instance, Hegseth, this total incompetent in the
I knew he's
department.
incompetent.
Yeah, but now he's head of the Defense Department, and they're firing everybody. They're firing veterans. All the really competent people in the military are either retiring or quitting or getting fired. If we ever had to have a war right now with Russia or anybody else, we lose before
And by
we
the
start.
way, do you know something? This is what happened before World War II. Stalin was killing and firing all top generals. It's well-known fact. So whenever he didn't believe that Hitler will attack the Soviet Union, so he fired top echelon of the generals. Some of them he killed, some of them he fired. The same things he destroyed, like because he tried to be authoritarian and just like because he was feared for his supremacy.
And that's not bad enough. Then the people head of the FBI, the people head of all our security apparatus, they are not competent. And worse than that, now we've completely alienated the entire world. All of our allies don't want to give us any information. They don't want to help the United States because they're afraid that Trump's just going to hand it right over to the Soviet Union.
Yeah, that's schmuck.
Soviet Union or Russia.
Like it doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
like this schmucks basically Trump, like because now I'm cursing because it's not people. This is people who shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be ruling our country. They have no knowledge how to rule the countries and departments they sit in. Another nonsense that very serious, the destruction of all our like economy. Trump is offering free social security, like no income tax on social security, tips and overtime. In California, you don't pay on social security income, period, on a state level. On a federal level, you pay maximum 80% when you have so much income, more than $25,000, $28,000, other income on the top of social security. So it's not like something that like if you have only social security income, you don't pay any income tax. Know that. So it's kind of like political move. It's nothing burger.
Yeah, they keep representing this as a Ponzi scheme. No, it's not. You know, the money came out of my pocket. The Social Security that I get back, basically, I'm putting money into a retirement fund, and hopefully I'll be alive long enough at the end of my life to get some of it back. I'll never see all of it. Yeah.
Jeffrey, some people even didn't put anything and they getting money out of the system on the Medicare like insurance and from the Social Security. You come here, you naturalized, and you didn't work even one day in this country and you get Social Security supplemental benefits. Another on tips, not paying income tax on tips. When like in a cafeteria, like restaurants,
Restaurant or clubs.
it's insanity. So like people, let's say your profession is to be a waiter. For example, some people or many people, they like what they do. In 30 years, they come to collect Social Security, and they will have no earnings towards Social Security because they didn't pay anything towards Social Security. Then what about giving this category of people waiver on a tips income, what about taxi cab driver? What about people in any leisure?
Let me ask you one question. Also, there's got to be so much corruption, and how could you actually control it? What about restaurants where everybody pools their tips? How do you know what you earned and what you didn't earn?
It's not going to be
senseless.
Thank you, Jeffrey. You see, I told you this is this is insanity. But the problem is it's going to be money laundering businesses. Because what you can do, you can show your income, and the income, if you're single or like you have a small restaurant, you can show like as much tips as you want, like 5,000-10,000 a month, and you can money laundry because you're not paying taxes on this. This is insanity. And you create an animosity from different people who will pay a tax on tips. No tax on overtime. Insanity number 150, 200 times. How can you, you see, if you don't pay on your overtime taxes, and somebody working on a salary and stay overtime, it's a chaos. It's again chaos. It's just how can I manage as a person? I have people who are executive level managers. They should stay later because they have to close. They have to receive people with overtime, incentivize overtime, and then they don't pay anything, no tax on overtime.
Let me give you an interesting example. I lived in Belgium for over 30 years.
You said 37.
37,
okay.
36, 37. But the most important thing, let's just talk about the diamond industry. I lived in Antwerp, the famous. Do you know everybody on the in the diamond industry gets two salaries? One official salary that they pay income tax on, and one unofficial salary that they get in cash. And then they became welfare states. Why? Because all these people were coming, they came into Belgium, and they're all on welfare, and they're all working in the black. So all these people are getting welfare, which pays incredibly well in Belgium. And then at the same time, they're all painting houses and doing plaster work and doing construction work in the black for cash.
That's exactly what's going to happen. So with this tips income and other, so people will be not putting enough in social security fund, even not for us who will be soon in a retirement age, but they're not putting enough for themselves. It's not good, it's not bad, it's a chaos. This is not smart. This is not the country you want to live in, because the social security takes of your retirement age and you have to build. This is stupidity. So
the last thing I would ask your opinion on, because it seems like the United States has shifted from a manufacturing country to a service country, and how the taxes and social security and everything work in a service-oriented population.
It doesn't matter. You see, when you earn some money, it doesn't matter what industry you earn in the money. You earning money and you paying into the system with the Social Security, Medicare. So, if you is in California, state disability insurance. So you well taken care of if you part of the system. The system, that what makes America great, not the speech, let's make America great, but the system we have. Trump is destroying the system, and that's why we put in this video. So get educated, get Trump out of the power, but by talking to your Congress people who Republicans or Democrats, we have to save our country. It's being destroyed.
But especially Republicans. Right now, Trump has turned the Republican Party into a cult, and until that cult is exposed totally for what it is, which is completely corrupt. Because all these people, all these congressmen and senators, the only thing they care about is staying in office.
In power.
And if you know that they say there's two goals for every politician. The first is to get elected, and the second is to get reelected, and nothing else matters. They will say anything to accomplish those two facts.
So that's our point, because also like if you listen the whole podcast like or video, you understand that Trump doesn't have anything for you and for me and for Jeffrey. No, I should say for Jeffrey and for me. So you have to wake up. It's just like there is no plan. There will be no better tomorrow. There will be another crisis. There will be another idea, another carrot for you.
Okay.
And
so next, we have to move on.
Yeah.
Because
Thank you.
otherwise, this is going to be a 10-hour video. The other thing that for me is very important is the dumbification of the United States, because Trump and all his morons that he has in his cabinet and that are working there, the dumber you are, the higher your position. The more you can kiss Trump's ass, the higher your position. The main thing to understand is that if you look what's going on in Harvard and the universities and all the legal firms, it is blackmail, nothing less. It is blackmail. It is stealing money from the most important organizations in the United States. There are great companies that can make this country great. There are great universities that make this country great. They keep making a big thing that China is stealing all of our brilliant minds and things like that. They don't have to anymore because of all this crap that Trump is doing. Everybody is going to go to China because it's the only place they can practice their profession.
Let me push a little bit back. I agree with Jeffrey. The problem is that it's not just about those universities. Trump again created the problem that it shouldn't be a problem. He's supposed to resolve the national debt. He's supposed to resolve the rising cost of healthcare. He's supposed to resolve things that he's supposed to do. No, he creates the problem with these universities. And I, for one, somewhat agree with, like, you see, they get funded by federal government, those universities. So they need when the Jewish students being pushed on the campuses, they must create some order, because they must defend, as they talk, like minorities, and Jewish students are minorities. It's just an example.
But you don't destroy science. You don't destroy education. You don't banish books from the libraries and things like that. That destroys the country. That's bad.
I agree, but again, it's not. We should talk about that, but it shouldn't be as a like craziness. It shouldn't be cutting right away. It should be a dialogue. It should be like something better. But let's also talk about the Democrats one second.
Go ahead.
Because Democrats, social Democrats, destroying our country as equally as Donald Trump. Because everything what like we are asking, like, hey, social Democrats, how do you resolve all our problems? How do we fix national debt? They say we need to tax rich people, evil corporation. Okay, how do we fund, let's say, green energy bill? We have to tax rich people and evil corporation. Anything what we need to do, they only tax rich people and some evil corporation. And let me push back on this. Evil corporations, for example, Amazon. Jeffrey, do you own stocks of Amazon?
No.
Okay, and I don't. But there are people who can purchase, you can go online on a brokerage account and buy and be an owner of Amazon. Amazon or other evil corporations, they can be, you can be owner of these companies. It's not like some mythical animals. And then when they produce profit, you as a shareholder, the owner of those corporations, you can get that profit, share of that profit. And people who work for Amazon, they also vilified because they bad people, evil. So so my point.
Well, the worst thing is now is that Trump and members of Congress and members of the Senate, who normally should not be allowed to own stock for any reason while they are in office, in the meantime, they're all stealing. Trump pulled this fast one this last week, and he said, everybody should buy. Everybody should buy. So the people who went and bought made a killing. And then, of course, then he dropped, then the tariffs come in. Basically, this is totally corrupt. This is insider trading. Should be illegal. And that's what the Trump administration is doing. They're making rich people a whole lot richer through insider deals.
I couldn't disagree more. because the problem with trading is very complex, because he said like buy, and then next day the market went down. So you have to see
first it went up.
Oh, yeah, but you have to see that people who they purchase, they have to sell it. So you can see those people who making trades, you can see them making money right away. It's complicated, but equally the Congress people shouldn't be participating in the stocks. They shouldn't be like, if you become a Congress person, why you become a Congress person? What's the point?
And even the excuses, like the first person who was doing this was a Democrat, and it was Nancy Pelosi. But how did she worm her way out of it? Oh, I don't do any trading, my husband does.
Yeah, but you see, this is bullshit on the both sides.
Exactly.
So we need like regulations, like. Again, I think so. Democrats, that's the reason people try to choose Donald Trump, because they thought he's going to bring, he would walk the talk, right? But he doesn't. He doesn't know things, he knows how to manipulate you, but he doesn't know how to do things.
Let me ask you an important question. The way we're going now, is Trump about to bankrupt our country?
He's going to destroy. That's why this is urgent. And I'm like very angry because most of the people who believed in Trump, they still believe in him. Like he's going to pull some trick of like out of his head or somewhere. And it's so obvious. That's why we went like, there is no drill, baby, drill. There is no point of tariffs. There is no point of anything he does. So please be educated. With this video, share. And if you disagree, share why you disagree. So we will take a note and we will talk about what you want to talk about or address your things.
Okay. I think this was a good session. We got a lot done. We got a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of things to talk about Musk also, but he'll be gone. He'll be gone in 30 days, so that's good.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care, guys.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right.